Have you ever felt like your mind is a race car, always going, never stopping? The engine roars, the tires screech, and there's no finish line in sight. That's how I feel sometimes. It's like I'm constantly in overdrive, unable to slow down or take a break. My name is Sarah, and I'm an overthinker. Every decision, every action, every word spoken is analysed and reanalyzed in my mind. It's like my brain is a hamster wheel, and the thoughts just keep spinning. It's exhausting. The more I try to stop them, the faster they seem to go. I worry about everything, big and small. From the mundane daily tasks to the larger life decisions, nothing escapes my scrutiny. Will I be late for work? The thought nags at me, even when I know I have plenty of time. What if I say the wrong thing? Conversations replay in my head and I second-guess every word. Did I leave the oven on? The smallest doubts can spiral into overwhelming fears. The what-ifs can be paralyzing. They freeze me in place, making it hard to move forward. Anxiety is like my unwelcome shadow, always lurking nearby. It follows me everywhere, casting a dark cloud over my thoughts. It whispers doubts in my ear and makes it hard to enjoy the present moment. Even in the happiest times, there's a voice that questions everything. I know I'm not alone in this. There are many others who feel the same way, trapped in their own minds. So many people struggle with overthinking and anxiety. It's a common battle, one that many fight silently. It's a universal language of worry that can make us feel isolated. But in reality, we're all connected by these shared experiences. But I'm here to tell you that there's hope. There are ways to manage these thoughts and find relief. You can break free from the chains of anxiety and find peace. I'm living proof. Through mindfulness, support and self-compassion, it's possible to reclaim your mind and live a fulfilling life. Living with constant worry was like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere I went. It weighed me down and made it hard to function. My work suffered, I couldn't focus, and deadlines loomed over me like dark clouds. Relationships became strained too. I was so caught up in my own anxieties that I couldn't be fully present for the people I loved. Sleep became my enemy. I'd lie awake at night, my mind racing with worries, only to wake up feeling exhausted and dreading the day ahead. It felt like an endless cycle of worry and fatigue. Something had to change. One day I was venting to my friend Lisa about my struggles. She listened patiently, her warm brown eyes filled with concern. When I was finished, she smiled gently and said, "Sarah, have you ever tried meditation?" Meditation? I'd heard of it, of course, but I always thought it was for yogis and hippies, not someone like me. Lisa explained that meditation wasn't about emptying your mind completely, which I thought was impossible. It was about learning to observe your thoughts without judgment. She told me about a beginner's meditation app she'd been using and encouraged me to give it a try. I was skeptical, but I trusted Lisa, so I promised I'd download it. I figured it couldn't hurt to try. That night, I downloaded the meditation app Lisa recommended. I had been feeling overwhelmed for weeks, and Lisa's suggestion seemed like a lifeline. The app promised to help me find some peace and clarity, something I desperately needed. I lay down on my bed, put on my headphones and pressed play. The room was quiet, the only sound was the gentle hum of the air conditioner. I felt a mix of hope and skepticism as I waited for the session to begin. The instructor's voice was calm and soothing. It felt like a warm blanket wrapping around me, offering comfort and reassurance. His words were gentle, guiding me step by step. He guided me to focus on my breath, noticing the rise and fall of my chest. Each inhale and exhale became a focal point, a way to anchor my wandering mind. At first, my mind was like a room full of monkeys, thoughts jumping all over the place. I couldn't seem to quiet the noise, and it felt almost impossible to concentrate. But I kept practicing, day after day. Each session was a small step forward, a tiny victory in my battle against anxiety. The calendar pages turned, marking my progress. Slowly, I started to notice a difference. The chaos in my mind began to settle, and I found moments of stillness that I hadn't experienced in a long time. The gaps between my thoughts grew a little wider. It was as if the constant chatter in my head was taking a break, allowing me to breathe more freely. I was able to observe my worries without getting swept away by them. They were still there, but they no longer had the same power over me. Meditation became my anchor, a way to ground myself in the present moment and find a sense of calm amidst the chaos of my mind. It was a practice that brought me back to myself, no matter how turbulent my thoughts were. It was like a weight was slowly being lifted off my shoulders. Each deep breath, each moment of mindfulness helped me reclaim a piece of my peace. The journey wasn't easy, but it was worth every effort. Section 5. Challenging my inner critic. As I continued meditating, I realized that many of my anxious thoughts were fueled by negative self-talk. It was like a constant background noise that I had grown so accustomed to, I barely noticed it anymore. But during meditation, it became clear how much power these thoughts had over me. My inner critic was a master at pointing out my flaws and magnifying my insecurities. It would remind me of every mistake I'd ever made, every shortcoming, and every reason why I wasn't good enough. This relentless voice made it hard to see my own worth. So, I started challenging those negative thoughts. I knew I had to take control and not let my inner critic dictate my self-worth. I began by identifying these negative thoughts as soon as they appeared. When I'd catch myself thinking, "I'm going to mess this up," I'd counter it with, "I'm capable, and I've got this." It wasn't easy at first, but with practice it became more natural. I started to believe in my own affirmations. I know it might sound silly, but talking back to my negative thoughts actually helped. It was like having a conversation with myself where I was both the critic and the supporter. Over time, the supportive voice grew stronger. It was like I was training my mind to focus on the positive instead of dwelling on the negative. This shift in focus didn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, I noticed a significant change in my mindset. I also started practicing gratitude. This was another powerful tool in my journey to silence my inner critic. By focusing on what I was thankful for, I could shift my attention away from my perceived flaws. Each day, I'd write down 3 things I was grateful for, no matter how small. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning or a kind word from a friend. These small moments of gratitude added up. This simple practice shifted my perspective and helped me appreciate the good in my life. It made me realize that there was so much to be thankful for, even on the toughest days. It's amazing how focusing on the positive can change your whole outlook. By challenging my inner critic and practicing gratitude, I found a new sense of peace and confidence. It was a journey worth taking, and one that continues to shape my life every day. One of the biggest casualties of my anxiety had been my ability to enjoy the present moment. I was always so worried about the future or dwelling on the past that I missed out on the beauty of the now. But as I learned to manage my overthinking, I started to rediscover the joy in simple things. I started taking walks in nature, paying attention to the rustling leaves and the warm sunshine on my skin. I reconnected with hobbies I'd abandoned, like painting and playing the piano. I even started saying yes to more social invitations, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. Life was no longer passing me by in a blur of worry. I was finally present and engaged. Remember Lisa, the friend who encouraged me to try meditation? Well, she became my rock throughout my journey to overcome anxiety. Talking to her about my struggles, both big and small, was incredibly therapeutic. I learned that I didn't have to go through this alone. Connecting with others, sharing my story and hearing theirs created a sense of community and belonging. We laughed together, cried together, and supported each other through the ups and downs. I realized that vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was strength. It's amazing how powerful human connection can be. Here's the thing about overcoming anxiety and overthinking. It's not about achieving some kind of perfect state of Zen where you never worry again. It's about learning to navigate the ups and downs of life with more resilience and self-compassion. I still have moments of anxiety. It's a work in progress, and that's okay. I've learned to accept that I'm not perfect, and that's perfectly fine. And what matters is that I keep practicing the tools and techniques that help me manage my mind. I've learned to be kinder to myself, to forgive myself for my mistakes, and to celebrate my accomplishments, no matter how small. Remember, you are enough, just as you are. If you're struggling with overthinking and anxiety, please know that you're not alone. There is hope, and you can find peace. It might not happen overnight, but with patience, persistence, and self-compassion, you can rewrite your story. Remember to breathe, challenge your negative thoughts, and seek support from others. You are stronger than you think, and you deserve to live a life filled with joy and peace. So take a deep breath, and let's start this journey together. One step at a time, one breath at a time, we can break free from the chains of anxiety and embrace a brighter future.